All right, so let's look at what a 6 is, because this is what you are trying to strive for. 6 is kind of the rare air, if you will, of time writings. However, students have attained these in the past and certainly will continue to do so this year. But this is something to strive for. So it's consistent competence, consistent throughout. That's the claim, that's the body paragraphs, that's the evidence, that's the commentary. It's consistently of high quality, consistently elevated, if you will. So we have a debatable, well-articulated, and clear assertion. It's a clear, focused position, and the whole paper, in a sense, insightfully defends what it is you set out to do in the thesis. Okay? Also, there's specific, detailed supporting evidence. So it's specific and it's detailed, and also it's well organized. So that's an important quality too. The evidence is sequenced in the best possible order. It's distinguished by effectively elevated word choice. So it's almost as if with the 6, every word is the best possible word to convey the writer's thoughts about the particular topic, and demonstrates consistent and effective control, consistent, effective of grammar and mechanics. Okay, we're not looking for perfect paper, but again, just this consistency is important. Okay, looking at a 5, 6 was consistent, 5 is reasonably consistent. Okay, for the most part, not 100% consistent, but for the most part, it's a consistently well-written paper. Okay. Generally clear position. It may not be as articulately expressed as it would be in the 6 with the clear focus. It may lack the insight, the depth of thought that a 6 possesses, but it does support or defend the debatable, well-articulated, and clear assertion. Okay. This is specific, detailed for the 6. Here we have appropriate supporting evidence, and is generally well organized. Again, almost a 6, but not a 6 for reasons of the consistency in terms of every sentence trying to work towards supporting that claim. With language, some examples of the effectively elevated diction, and its effective control. May not be consistent, but it does show that the writer is in control of grammar mechanics. So you see the differences. They might seem somewhat subtle, but a 6 is really the strongest possible response to any particular time writing prompt. A 5 is certainly an excellent paper as well, but just not there yet. Moving to a 4, this is adequate competence. So adequate competence is not necessarily have that consistency that you might be striving for throughout all parts of the paper, all aspects of your time writing response, but it is adequate. Okay, in this case, it defends or challenges the assertion adequately. Okay, up here we're with the generally clear position. It's debatable, well articulated. Here we're just defending it. Okay, and again, oftentimes with the 4 paper, there may be a good assertion, but the evidence, the commentary may not be as strong as a 5. So we're looking in 4, 5, 6 papers of at least an assertion, a strong claim that relates back to the prompt. In terms of support, we do have supporting evidence. There is organization to it. Adequate word choice. Again, it may not be the best word choice. It may not be effectively elevated, but the word choice is adequate. Okay, and again, it's a time writing. Obviously, if you're using 1 and 2 syllable words throughout the whole paper, that may not be the adequate word choice. That might not be the appropriate word choice. And then again, adequate control of grammar and mechanics. Although in this case, here, not complete without errors. Here we have several errors. Okay, so again, it lacks that consistency that a 5 might have. This might be more random errors, a comma splice here, maybe a misspelling, maybe the commas are missing, and so forth. Okay, so we're moving now to a 3. And this is where the assertion really comes into play. This is developing competence, and in these papers, which should be a C or C+, it's 1 or more of the following weaknesses. Won't have all four of them necessarily, but one or more. So it could be just an unclear assertion. May not, in the case of the time writing where we're asking about theme, it may not have a theme. It might just say, for example, in Eveline, James Joyce focuses on the motif of home. Okay, again, that's a weak assertion. We don't have the debatable aspect of it. Minimal supporting evidence. There may not be a lot of evidence, or perhaps it's weakly organized. It looks like the pieces of evidence, the examples, the quotes perhaps, were just kind of thrown in there, like scattered throughout the paper. Almost no examples of effectively elevated word choice. And again, weak diction can take a potentially strong paper down to a level of a C, because the words do not precisely and accurately express what you want to convey to the reader, and there may be recurrent errors in grammar and mechanics. A lot of mistakes in this case. They're recurring. Every few sentences might be a comma misplace, might be a run-on sentence, might be subject-verb errors, and so forth. Okay, so again, it just has to be one or more. So 4, 5, and 6, we're looking for competence. We're looking for some degree of consistency as we move to the 5s and the 6s. And then we have our 3, and then 2, again, it's flawed by one or more. This is some incompetence. Okay. And then one or more of the following weaknesses. Okay, and it could be misunderstanding of the prompt. You don't know what the prompt asked. You write plot summary, you're writing about conflict and not theme, for example. Or it can just be disjointed evidence. In that case, the evidence doesn't flow. It's very, very random. It's not a thoughtful selection or choosing of the evidence. It could be short, inadequate development. You could have, for the whole paper, maybe you have a little introduction, maybe you have 2 3-sentence body paragraphs. That's inadequately developed. Or it could just be vague generalizations. Nothing specific, it's just vague. And again, you might have confusing or poor organization. Okay. And then finally, rare, but it has happened. I'm sorry, frequent errors for the 2 as well. Okay, rather than recurring, it's frequent. The errors just kind of pop out. And what happens with errors is that it really interferes with your writing. Ideally, with your language, with your ideas, you want to express them clearly. You want your words to illuminate, to put a light on your thoughts, rather than your words and mechanics and grammar to put up shadows or put up a wall between what you want to say and how it comes across to your audience. And then 1s are just simply incompetent. And again, it could be one or more of these weaknesses. Unacceptable brevity with only a passing reference to the text. The writer's really not sure what to write, and it's so brief, it might just be a paragraph or so. Consistent lack of organization development. Whatever your supports are, they're not very well developed. And then serious errors. Serious errors might be no punctuation in the entire paper. And then a 0 is you misread the prompt. So, for example, in the one you did yesterday or last week, if you're writing about Eveline and you end up writing a paper on Frank and what's going to happen in Buenos Aires for Frank's life, okay, you've kind of missed the whole point of the assignment. Okay, so again, 3 is the developing competence, again, the weak assertion. Okay, and then when we move to 4, it starts to get better. Okay, more consistency as we get to the 5 and to the 6, where we're really looking for that insight. Ideally, a reader, whether it's me or anyone, would like to understand clearly what you think about a text in response to the prompt, and also perhaps learn something new, something that maybe wasn't discussed in class that you've thought about with regard to the text. Okay, so there's some thoughts about the rubric. Hopefully it's clearer now, and when you get your papers back, you'll have a better understanding of why you have your number. Okay, thanks for listening.